This is Charlie Javice. She is a 32-year-old entrepreneur from Westchester who pulled off one of the most audacious frauds in financial history. She sold JP Morgan a startup full of fake customers for $175 million. But the $175 million was just the appetizer, because what happened after the fraud is even crazier. Through a legal loophole that defies common sense, JP Morgan is currently being forced to pay millions of dollars for Javice's criminal defense. We are talking about $1,000 laundry bills, celebrity lawyers, and a 15-pound binder of expenses that the bank calls
dog wrapped in cash.
This is the story of how one woman scammed America's biggest bank twice. To understand the heist, you have to understand the bait. Charlie Javice founded a company called Frank. The pitch was noble. The FAFSA financial aid firm is a complete and total nightmare in the United States. Frank wanted to be the TurboTax for financial aid, designed to help students unlock billions in federal money that they are entitled to. But to a bank like JP Morgan, Frank wasn't a charity, it was a pipeline. Banks are terrified of losing Gen Z to apps like Chime, Robinhood, and Klarna. Javice told them exactly what they wanted to hear. I have 4.25 million students. I have their emails, their data, and their trust. She was a media darling. She was on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. She had backing from the CEO of Apollo Management. She created a fear of missing out so intense that JP Morgan felt they had to buy her immediately or someone else would. And here is the way due diligence failed spectacularly. During the deal, a senior JP Morgan executive, Leslie Morris, forwarded a note to her team quoting CEO Jamie Dimon. The quote, "Sometimes there is no need to do analysis at all." Now, she later testified that this was a joke, but in high-pressure culture of deal-making, nobody laughed. The bank was so desperate to close the deal that they relied on, and this is a direct quote from court testimony, but came out of her mouth. They didn't verify the users, they didn't call the students, they trusted a spreadsheet. And in the summer of 2021, they wired her $175 million. But behind the scenes, Frank was a shell. They didn't have 4 million users, they had maybe around 300,000. And 1 week before the sale, Javice realized the bank was going to check the data. According to court testimony, she approached her head of engineering, Patrick Wover, and asked him to fake it, to invent millions of students. Wover refused. He told her, "I will not do anything illegal." When her engineer wouldn't do it, she found someone who would. She paid a data science professor from Queens College just $18,000. His job? To generate a synthetic population. He wrote a script to birth 4 million human beings out of thin air. He gave them names, addresses, birth dates, and high schools. It was a digital city the size of Los Angeles, created for the price of a used Honda Civic. JP Morgan bought the list, and the moment the ink was dry, they tried to email their new customers. The result was a total catastrophe. 70% of the emails bounced. The few that went through, silence. The bank realized they had purchased a ghost town. JP Morgan sued. The Department of Justice charged her. The Security and Exchange Commission charged her. She was facing decades in prison. You would think that this is where the bank wins, right? Well, not really. This is where the story gets absolutely absurd.
It's about to get all stupid up in here!
When JP Morgan bought Frank, they hired Javice as a managing director, and under bank's own bylaws, directors are entitled to advancement rights. That means the company pays your legal fees if you get sued doing your job. Javice's lawyers argued that since fraud allegations were related to her employment, the bank had to foot the bill until she was proven guilty, and a Delaware judge agreed. Suddenly, Javice had a blank check, and she went shopping. She hired Alex Spiro, Elon Musk's lawyer. She hired Jose Baez, the lawyer of Harvey Weinstein. She hired Alexander Shapiro, the lawyer of Sam Bankman-Fried. At one point, there were 29 different lawyers and professionals in the courtroom for her defense, all billing by the hour. JP Morgan noted in her filing that Javice had an army of 147 timekeepers working on her case, and they were not flying coach. JP Morgan revealed a 15-pound binder of expenses they have been forced to pay. This includes first-class travel, seafood towers, expensive hotel upgrades, and in one particularly confusing line item, cellulite butter. Let me see what that is. Okay, never mind. The bank has paid over $115 million. That is nearly as much as they paid for the company itself. They are literally financing the people who robbed them. In the end, the money could not save her. In a trial presided over by a 97-year-old judge, the jury convicted her in just 6 hours. She was sentenced to 85 months, more than 7 years in prison. The judge ordered her to pay $288 million in restitution. But here's the final kick in the teeth of the bank. The judge ruled that she only has to pay 10% of her monthly earnings toward the restitution. JP Morgan will likely never see that money. In their filing, JP Morgan said Javice treated the bank like a blank check. And they are right. This wasn't just a failure of due diligence, it was a failure of common sense. They paid $175 million for a lie and then paid $115 million to the liar's lawyers. And not just that, they also paid with their reputation. The lesson? If a 20-something-year-old founder claims to have solved a problem that has baffled the United States government for decades, maybe ask for the receipts before you pay for the cellulite butter. Anyway, that is the state of play. A major bank humiliated, a founder behind bars, and a legal bill that is still ticking up every single hour. I want to know what you think in the comments. Is Charlie Javice a master manipulator who deserves every day of those 7 years, or did JP Morgan simply get what they paid for? A $175 million lesson in lazy due diligence. Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want more stories about financial chaos, click this video right here. The YouTube overlords think you will love it. Thank you, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.